Hello, I'm Carol Vorderman and welcome to Perfect 10. 10 questions, 10 points, all in just 10 minutes. It's Friday!
Hey!
The weekend definitely beckons. But before that, there's just enough time to get your cogs in your brain turning. The 10 more questions to educate, entertain, and of course, to irritate you. As always, there are 10 points on offer today. That's 50 points spread across the week if you've been playing since Monday. And if you have joined us every day this week, you should start feeling your cerebrum getting totally toned up by now. So make sure you subscribe, follow and like to get the next episode as soon as it drops. Before we roll out today's puzzles and problems, here's the answer to yesterday's anagram. I asked you which Star Wars legend was genuine class. That was the anagram. The answer was, it was Alec. These aren't the droids you're looking for. Guinness. Alec Guinness. Okay, that was just for fun. No points for getting that right, but will the force be strong with you today? It's time for the final Perfect 10 of the week. Here come the questions. Question 1 is your starter for a Perfect 10, so let's get a point under your belt. What is the only number that has the same amount of letters in its name as its numerical value? So, it won't be, say, the number 10, as the word 10 doesn't have 10 letters in it, it only has 3. So which number does have the same amount of letters as its numerical value? Remember, there isn't a time limit and you can pause the podcast wherever you like. I'm going to give you all of the 10 answers after the final question. Question 2, and this is where your ears and your lateral mind must work in tandem for a point, as it's our sound round, which we call hearsay. You're about to hear some sounds which relate to a well-known phrase or saying. So, which phrase is hidden in these sounds?
Babe, can I please just have some of the covers? Why do you have to take them all? Just give me that now.
What well-known phrase or saying was that? As always, the answer at the end. Question 3 is my Carol lateral thinking round, so listen up and see what you make of this. Kevin's mother has 3 sons, Snap, Crackle and Who. Question 4 is always our memory game. So relax, less tension, more retention, and let's end the week with another recipe. Listen to this.
Now, this delicious linguine is light enough for a midweek tea, but is equally sure to impress at a dinner party. All you'll need is 280 grams of linguine, 150 grams of sugar snaps, 1 bird's eye chilli, 2 cloves of garlic, 12 cherry tomatoes, and the stars of the show, 24 succulent king prawns. And there's no need to stress because you'll be tucking in less than 30 minutes.
Something to cook for this weekend? Perhaps. It does sound quite nice, but the question is, what type of chilli does this recipe recommend? Any chilli fans out there? There are a few. Moving on to questions 5, 6 and 7. They're all grouped together in the 3 Fs as they are frivolous, familiar and fun. In other words, everyday subjects, observation and common knowledge. Question 5. On the Apple logo, what side of the apple is the bite mark? If you're using an Apple device, you have a bit of a head start, I'll admit. But if you can answer without looking, I suggest you do. Otherwise, maybe you're just cheating yourself. Question 6. Craig Phillips, Brian Dowling and Kate Lawler were the first 3 winners of which long-running TV series? Now, if you have any questions, puzzles or riddles you'd like to train my brain with, I'd love to hear them. And you never know, they might just end up on the show training other people's brains too. Please send them over on our social media channels. Head on over to our website, which is perfect10.uk, for all the details. And now, question 7. And it's a different type of logo. Which British rock band's logo features a red tongue and a pair of plump red lips? And if you really do need a clue, well, those lips look a little bit like those of the singer. Question 8, and it's time for one in, one out, where I ask you to change a letter or two in a word to create a brand new one. Here's the question. What letter can you change in the word mixer, M-I-X-E-R, to make a proper Scrooge? Question 9 is the, I know this round, as it'll be on the tip of your tongue. And with a bit of logic, you should be cruising your way to another point. Here comes a question. If you take away all the pawns on a chessboard at the start of a game, how many pieces are left on the board? And the word pawn comes from the old French word paon, P-A-O-N, which in turn comes from the medieval Latin word for foot soldier. And look, here we are at question 10, the final question of the week. And as you know, it's time for our daily riddle. Jacob was born in 1988. But in 1968, he was 20 years old. How was that? Jacob is not a time traveller, by the way, so how can you put those dates together to make sense with that riddle? All the answers are coming up, so if you do need to rewind and pause, please do so now before the answers come your way. And don't forget to like and subscribe so you don't miss next week's questions. And if you want to entertain, educate and irritate me, send me your own puzzles to @CarolVorders on Instagram and TikTok, and follow @Perfect10Carol across socials and on YouTube. 10 questions, 10 points, all in just 10 minutes. So did you get a perfect 10 score? And have you scored a perfect 50 this week? It's time to find out. Question 1 was, what is the only number that has the same amount of letters in its name as its numerical value? And the answer was the number 4. F-O-U-R has 4 letters and a value, of course, of 4. Question 2 was our hearsay round.
Babe, can I please just have some of the covers?
Now, a few people have said that's pigs in blankets, but actually there's only one pig there. So, which well-known phrase or saying was that? And the answer is hogging the blanket. Question 3. Kevin's mother has 3 sons, Snap, Crackle and Who? And if you said Pop, sorry, you fell into the trap there. Question tells you the answer. Kevin's mother has 3 sons, Snap, Crackle and, well, of course it's Kevin's mother, so the answer is Kevin. Question 4, on memory round, we heard a delicious recipe, but the all-important memory question was, what type of chili does this recipe recommend? And the answer I was looking for was bird's eye chili. Question 5. On the Apple logo, what side of the apple is the bite mark? And the answer was it's on the right side. Steve Jobs chose an apple because he thought the name was, I quote, fun, spirited and not intimidating. The original logo had Sir Isaac Newton under the apple tree, but we've had the current one since 1999. Question 6. Craig Phillips, Brian Dowling and Kate Lawler were the first 3 winners of which long-running TV series? And the answer, you're live on Channel 4, please do not swear. The answer was Big Brother. Question 5. Which British rock band's logo features a red tongue and a pair of plump red lips? Well, of course, the answer was the Rolling Stones. And those famous lips and tongue weren't originally based on Mick Jagger's, funnily enough, but on the Hindu goddess Kali. True story. Question 8. What letter can you change in the word mixer, M-I-X-E-R, to make a proper Scrooge? And the answer is change the letter X to the letter S, and you get a miser, M-I-S-E-R. Question 9. If you take away all the pawns on a chessboard at the start of a game, how many pieces are left? And the answer is 16. After removing all the pawns, each player still has 2 rooks, 2 knights, 2 bishops, a king and a queen. That's 8 pieces each. 2 times 8, that gives us the answer 16. And finally, our daily riddle. Jacob was born in 1988, but in 1968, he was 20 years old. How could that be? And the answer is Jacob was born in 1988 BC. So by 1968 BC, he was 20 years old. So what was your score in Perfect 10 this week? Was it better than last week? Don't hesitate to get in touch on our socials because I really want to find our top scorer. And if you haven't already done so, don't forget to subscribe to the podcast or our videocast on YouTube and across all of our social media channels so you don't miss out on next week's questions. I'll be back on Monday with a whole new week of Perfect 10 questions. I'm Carol Vorderman, and that was the last of this week's Perfect 10s. 10 questions, 10 points, 10 minutes. Have a perfect weekend, and I'll see you next week.